Happy Thursday. I'm meteorologist Tom Schmidt with Ozarks First, and we've got a whole lot of rain on the way this week, and flooding will become a big concern as the week goes on. We're looking at rainfall coming today, Friday, and Saturday. Parts of the Ozarks will pick up, yes, believe it or not, 6 inches or more of rainfall for us. Let's jump right into it. All right, so flooding this week. Flooding will become a problem with waves of heavy rain expected through the weekend. A flood watch has been issued for parts of the southern Ozarks, mainly along and south of I-44, and it's important to know how you can prepare for a flood and what you should do if you find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, flooding is the most, well, I like to say, the most underestimated weather hazard. It's one of the deadliest, falling in at the second deadliest weather hazard we face. Surprisingly, flooding is beaten out by heat when it comes to the most fatalities. Flooding averages a number of 88 people each year that are killed from flooding-related fatalities. That's compared to 72 from tornadoes and 48 from hurricanes. Now, ways you can prepare for a flood include knowing if you, first of all, live in a floodplain, if you're in a flood-prone area. You need to know your alternate driving routes to and from work or to and from your home, and knowing where the nearest high ground is in advance. So if you need to evacuate, you know where to go quickly and the closest spot to you there. Now, some good items to keep around to help you be prepared for flooding are sandbags, plywood, plastic sheeting, plastic trash bags, lumber, shovels, and, of course, work boots and work gloves. Always handy to have around. And it's also a good idea to contact your county emergency management agency to learn more on how to properly protect your home if you live in a flood-prone area. A lot of these emergency management offices will have flood advice or flood guidance on their website, so go check them out. Or if they don't, go ahead and contact them. They'll be able to teach you more about what you need to know on guidance for preparing for floods. Now, another step to take in advance of a flood is to know the elevation of your property. Again, find out, are you in a flood-prone area or not. You also want to maybe evaluate your insurance coverage. Identify your flood-prone areas for you. And also, you want to find possible ways to mitigate your risk. Now, keep in mind that new development and construction happening nearby your home can change your flood risk as well. That can kind of change the flooding dynamics and your runoff dynamics for your local coverage area as well. So be mindful of what's going on around you at all times. Now, on average, the most common type of flood-related fatalities oftentimes involves a vehicle. In 2024, the United States reported 181 flood-related deaths. Of those 181, 66 involved a vehicle. Now, so far in 2025, the United States has seen 20 flood-related fatalities. Of those 20, 15 of those have involved a vehicle. 75% of flood-related deaths so far in 2025 have been with a vehicle. Now, so far in Missouri, we have not experienced any flood-related deaths for 2025. However, 2024, we did see 9 deaths related to flooding here in Missouri. Now, you may have heard us say, turn around, don't drown. This guy's not doing a very good example of that. Driving through water is never a smart move. Water running over a road can wash away the road underneath the floodwater, leaving no surface for a car to drive over. In many cases, you as a driver can't tell if the road is still there or if it's been washed away, because floodwaters are usually murky, and it's oftentimes, really, the majority of these flood-related vehicle fatalities happen overnight. Now, flowing water creates pressure on an object, such as a vehicle driving through it. Now, the greater the water depth, the greater the coverage of the flowing water. There's more water bumping up against the side of your car. That creates a greater force on your car, trying to push it off the road. A road surface also becomes slippery when wet. Your vehicle can also lose traction because now, instead of driving on the road, it could be driving over sand or mud or any kind of leaves or sticks that might be covering the road underneath those floodwaters. Your vehicle's, again, just losing traction overall, easier on those flooded roadways. Now, it generally takes less than a foot of slow-moving water to sweep a vehicle off the road, let alone stall out the engine in standing water and cause flood damage to your car, both on the interior and also under the hood in the engine. 6 inches of fast-moving water will sweep away most vehicles, and yes, that does include heavier SUVs and trucks. So we are looking at, again, that flooding potential as we go into this week. Beginning today, some areas could already see an inch of rain, but then some pockets as we go into Friday and Saturday, seeing rainfall totals top again close to 6 inches of rain. So again, you want to find out where you live. These are some quick preparation tips for you. You want to know where you live. Are you in a flood-prone area? FEMA has a great resource to find out exactly where flood-prone areas are. Type in your address. It'll spit them out for you on a map to give you a good visual of where your closest flood risk would be in a flooding event. You also want to, again, get ready. You want to have those materials on hand. We mentioned sandbags, right? You want to be ready for those. If you have a low spot, you want to keep water maybe from coming in on your patio. If that's something you face quite often, sandbags create a good barrier to prevent water from flowing where you don't want it to go. Shovels are always good to have. If you have water pooling up somewhere in your yard, maybe you can dig a channel for it to drain properly. That's always handy to have in a flood. Something else to kind of keep on hand, floodwaters they're messy. They're dirty. Maybe not so much in rural areas, but in cities, in your urban areas, floodwaters come with a lot of nasty side effects in them. Everything that's on the street, everything that's in the ditches, the junk, the trash that's flowing through the cities that the floodwaters pick up, that is now all floating around. And so floodwaters overall are dirty and sometimes can just be hazardous from a health standpoint, containing a lot of disease and illness in there that you may not know about that you don't really want to mess with. So playing in floodwaters, I know, always fun for kids. Not a good idea, especially if you're in the city areas. All right, so again, we have flooding coming up this week. A lot of rain coming, especially south of I-44, tracking a risk of 6+ inches for areas in northern Arkansas. Some of the model data coming in suggests 10 inches to maybe up to a foot of rainfall, all said and done at the end of this week. Now, that's just the model guidance, but I'd say 6 inches or more is looking very likely for areas especially south of I-44. Here in Springfield, right now we're putting rainfall estimates through Saturday night into your Sunday morning at around a good 2, 3, possibly up to 4 inches of rainfall. Good amount of moisture. Things will certainly be greening up for us around here in the Ozarks, and mid-April should be looking quite lush as spring continues to flourish.